Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this special broadcast of One Exclusive. We are not in studios today. We are at the SWAPO headquarters, and with us is Secretary General to the SWAPO Party, Honorable Mbumba. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Dall.
How are you?
I'm okay.
First, let me start off by commending you and the party for ruling Namibia peacefully and prosperously for the last 26 years. But before we talk about the party's challenges, let's address the rumors. Let's start with the repatriation process. Now, historically, the process has been slow, and recently, Attorney General Shangala has announced that the Namibian government will be suing Germany for 400 billion Namibian dollars. Now, this is for the 65,000 people who lost their lives between 1904 and 1908, and they were mostly Ova Herero and the Nama people. Now, why is SWAPO suddenly, coming up with this move?
No, first we have to be careful with the words we are using.
Okay.
We are not suing the German government.
Right.
This is a principal historic question.
Okay.
Our people were killed. The skulls are available to witness, as evidence of that.
Yes.
They are here, they are also in Germany.
Okay.
It is true, certain groups, the certain tribes, the Namas and the Hereros were the most affected because the fight that time was here in central Namibia.
Yes.
They, as communities, of course, are the one who are ringing the bell that this was genocide, this was cruel, inhuman treatment of other human beings, but no other Namibian, whether you come from Zambezi or you come from Kauko or you come from Gobabis, wherever you come from Namibia, you feel the pain of that period. Our population is small now because of those. This is history. Yes. And therefore, it does not matter who is leading this debate. It does not matter who is demanding that debate. It's not even a question of Hage Geingob. Hage Geingob is a young man who grew up even after independence. This is a principal thing that was started by people like Kwaimari Rwako, the chief of the Hereros, a person who participated in the fight for the freedom of the country. Why are we demanding these things now? Because we have an opportunity as a free country, as a free nation. As a free nation, we are able to stand up and ask a German official, as a Namibian official, what happened was wrong, what happened was cruel, it was genocide, and therefore let us discuss it and resolve it.
Yes, yes. So this $400 billion amount that has been mentioned in the media, as far as the International Criminal Court goes, only one sovereign state can sue another. So would that be the reason why you are stepping up legally?
First of all, you can't talk about an individual. I can't just stand up and go to South Africa and start demanding things from the South African government.
Yes. You're right.
Like, no Angolan can come here and just start an Angolan in his own name to start asking things. No, it must be systems work. You are interviewing me as an individual, not as a company. I am answering to you as an individual, although in the name of my organization or my party. So the issue is we are discussing as two sovereign states about a historic incident, a historic problem, a historic happening that took place 1904, 1908, but continue to haunt us in our memories, in our hearts of hearts, and continue sometimes to divide us and sometimes to unite us. And for that, we have a duty to stand up. This government is a government of all citizens. Hereros, Namas, Vambos, Damaras, Afrikaners, Germans, whatever you are represented by this government. When Dr. Nyoma was the president, he represented us all. The day he proclaimed that Namibia is free forever, he did it on behalf of every citizen, child, men or women. Nobody else is going to come in and say, we are free or we are not free. We are free as a country. President Pohamba, when he succeeded him, he was taking decisions on behalf of all of us. If there are floods or droughts, we go to the president and say, take action, lead us. If there is, thank God, we have never been attacked. But the police, the army, are under the command of one person, one individual, with a title of the President of the Republic of Namibia. So we cannot talk about, yes, there are things we can always talk about that affect Windhoek more than it affects Swakopmund, that affect Rundu more than it affect Oshakati. But if Oshakati or Rundu is under attack, it is the duty of all of us to defend it. It's our people, it's our land. So this issue should not be made to divide us. It should unite us. We should be able to confront the Germans. The president has appointed an academically qualified person, a doctor, a former ambassador, coming from the royal blood, as President Geingob has said. But now we want to negotiate. I had my experience in Walvis Bay. I had negotiated with the South Africans. I was assigned that duty. When we were negotiating, it was a team of 5 against a team of 5. We sat in the middle, we spoke. In Walvis Bay, there was a leader called Nathaniel Makwiridi, a firebrand, a true leader, a true boss of Walvis Bay. With all his seniority, with all his power, with all his popularity, he could not sit at our table when we were discussing formal negotiations. He could not. Only those who are authorized and empowered by their government. We can all send our own recommendation, our own advice. We can write things, we can propose things, we can be part of the delegation. It was my colleague, the South African representative, Ambassador Karl von Hirschberg, a good friend of mine up to now, and I, who could chair those meetings. Nobody else who could decide when we are going to have a meeting. So the ambassadors that are assigned, or the representative of both the Namibian and German government, they are the ones to chair those things.
Yes, yes.
There cannot be any other. Either you put yourself on the Namibian side of the negotiation, or you put yourself on the German side of the negotiation. There cannot be a third table, a fourth table, a fifth table, a tribal table. No, it's a state-to-state matters. And this is how things are done. We are not inventing the wheel. This is how things are done everywhere.
The other thing is, SWAPO has over a 2/3 majority in Parliament.
Thank God about that.
Very popular party, and it's gone from strength to strength. I mean, it was an 86% vote, I think, for the last national elections. What are we saying about the democracy of Namibia if there's not a strong opposition party to keep those checks and balances on the ruling party? How do we ensure that it does not become a one-party state?
One mistake we are making. Yes. Simple because we belong to the same party. It does not mean we all think the same. Within the SWAPO party, there is a lot of democracy. A lot of democracy. From sections to branches to district to regions, everybody is elected. Everybody who is in a leading position is elected. That's one. Second, we did not steal the majority we are enjoying today. It's a historic fact that SWAPO was the only organization which took up arms to challenge the authority, the power, and the might of South Africa in Namibia. We suffered because of that. The number of SWAPO members who were on Robben Island, I think only one SWANO member, I guess, on Ray. a very honorable man, was there with Andimbe Atoivos and others. Those who were in prison at Osire, Windhoek, they're SWAPO members. Those who were in house arrest, the Mahudiris in Walvis Bay, they were SWAPO members, they were SWAPO leaders. Those who fought, we can give you a list of prominent members. Yesterday I was talking here about one young man who was in school, younger than me, brilliant young man, handsome young man. He ended up being a commander and died during the war. So this is not something we got on a silver platter. We work for it, and we have very good leaders. Like Sem Nujoma, you can be a politician of any caliber. To compete with Sem Nujoma, you have to be something. You can be a very strong person in character. And if you challenge Hifikepunye Pohamba, he's going to stand up against you until you yourself fall down, not him falling down. We have Dr. Geingob, as you have seen him, conducting the SONA, State of the Nation Address. Conducting the SONA. And being able to speak from 2:30 to 6 o'clock. Asking questions, and his own statement is full of ideas. So if the opposition party can come up with all those ideas, with all those strength, with all those history, yes, we are ready to match them. Fantastic. One-on-one.
Fantastic. And SWAPO has had a history of taking, those leaders who did face charges of corruption. You have taken them to task. And that brings us directly into the next question. The opposition parties are very critical over SWAPO because they say they don't have enough finances to ever win an election. And some of them suggest that SWAPO is financially stable due to fraud and corruption. What do you attribute the party's financial stability to?
First of all, even if we don't have the financial resources, we have the members, we have the numbers. That's number one principle. We have the numbers.
Yes, yes.
The money they are crying about, most of the money we are getting right now, as of recent years, is from Parliament. And it's basically, you get a certain amount of money per member of your party. If we were flush with money, as you are trying to say, will we live in a building like this? We are unable to put up a headquarters because we don't have the resources. It's true, compared to them. We have people who are willing to run to work for the party on a voluntary basis. We have also...
They believe in the mandate.
We have a mandate, anything. The other thing is, there is no one can tell us that a SWAPO company or a SWAPO individual stole money from the government to give to the party. Give me that. No.
So that was self-enrichment. It's not like that money, if there was corruption, flows into the party.
There is no way you can steal money from the government and send it to the party. None. None. If somebody does, a fraud case is for their own benefit, and they should be punished through the laws of the Republic of Namibia. None of us have ever gotten money. We get the money from Parliament through a legitimate legal way. A formula already worked by Parliament itself. Not at the SWAPO headquarters, but by Parliament there. Yeah.
Let's look at the leadership. The SWAPO Party Congress is coming up. And there are dissident youth leaders, for instance, those that started the affirmative repositioning movement, that is vying for SWAPO leadership. How do you feel about these young leaders, these dissident youth that want to come in and take over?
As a democratic organization, we welcome anybody who is interested in the leadership, in the activities, in mobilizing our people, in developing our country, in improving the lives of all our citizens. Everybody is welcome. The competition is there, as I said already. There is democracy in the SWAPO party. You can compete. to be elected or your friend to be elected, but subject yourself to the rules of the party. Okay. Subject yourself to the rules of the party. So there is no party has ever groomed more leaders than any other party, than SWAPO. But our prime minister, when she was appointed, she was a young person. The Saki Shangala, I told him, he started school after independence. And now he's a big man and a big-time lawyer. The Deputy Minister of Finance, Natangwe Ithete, is a young man. So we have brought in all kinds of young people. Those who were in Parliament in 1990, there is only maybe 3 or 4. So in terms of growing up, grooming up, we all started. I was a civil servant my first 3 years. Now I'm considered one of the older members in Parliament. So they claim that we don't want people to move up. But they move up through their own structures and in line with their own constitution. If you want to stand, proclaim yourself, stand up, campaign, compete, get elected, or if you get defeated, it happens in life.
Honourable Mbumba, let's quickly touch on land. Now, there has been a lot of movement, urban and rural, a lot of people from the south saying that they demand their ancestral rights. Land has been one of SWAPO's biggest mandates and biggest challenges since the beginning. Is there anything that's going to change? Is there anything that you're going to, adapt that's new and different this year to address the land issue?
Well, the land issue is a challenge in areas that were colonized by other people. It's a challenge in Zimbabwe. Yes. It's a challenge in Namibia. It's a challenge in South Africa. It's a challenge wherever other people who came from other countries came and occupy a larger piece of land and take other people's cattle and their land. It's a challenge. It was bound to be like that. Now, with the independence, of course, we are able to discuss things. First concern was the agricultural land, the farming land. Yes. That's why we started, already included in our constitution, the issue of willing seller, willing buyer. Now we are complaining about compensation, fair compensation. Now we have done something about that. The government has bought number of farms, has resettled people. We have the challenge of also now those resettled farms to be productive. That's a different question. Yes. Then now I think that one is still going on, but it's no longer the point of contention. It's not where the fighting, the physical fighting is taking place. It's now urban land. Urban land was not a question at the time of independence, because we thought everybody can come to town, you can get your piece of land. But we have included in our constitution the freedom of all our citizens, which was denied before, to move as we please and to stay and to come and stay wherever we want to stay. Where are we staying? We are attracted by lights and streets and towns and good buildings, and therefore we are coming to the big cities. Windhoek is the #1 attraction. This is where the government is. This is where the television stations are, radio stations. Everybody want to come to Windhoek. Others, Swakopmund, Walvis Bay, and then other big towns. Oshakati has proven to be a center in the middle of the north. People are coming there, Oshakati, Ongwediva, Ondangwa, and Nana Utapi, fine. But it is now a question of not just land. It's a question of habitat. It's a question of having a roof over your head. And that is what we are going to discuss. I don't want to jump into the issue. What is the government going to do? What am I going to do? What are you going to do? Because we have already organized ourselves to have the second land conference come September. And we are all aged as citizens. We claim to be intellectual, we claim to be political scientists, we come to quantity surveyors and whatever. If we have good ideas, let us propose them at the land conference.
Let's just close up now with finally the party's challenges. I mean, SWAPO looks like a very big, strong arm, and you guys are capable of solving the world's problems, but obviously every party has challenges. What would that be for you this year?
Well, let me talk first as a Secretary General of the party, who have been a Secretary General for the last 5 years. This is my 5th year. And I'm looking forward to handing over the responsibility of the Secretary General. It's tough. Yes, that's why you were putting all these difficult questions to me and not to anybody else.
Yes, sir.
The responsibility of the office of the Secretary General is to make sure there is a report covering the 5 years, the activities of the party. Which elections did we go through? How much did we win? How much did we spend? Who contributed more, whatever, who was elected, who was not elected. That report has to be there. The policy, our congresses always have resolutions. This must be done on land, this must be done on infrastructural development, this must be done on education, on health, on environment, and so on. We have to report. Did we fulfill those requirements? Did we do what we were told to do? That is part of the Secretariat's responsibility to do that. Then we had a policy conference last year. And the policy conference also has new proposal, which we are going to put to the Congress.
Okay.
They will be adopted, they will be amended, they will be rejected. It is the responsibility of the Congress of a party worth being called a party, a ruling party, to do that. After that, the most interesting part, what all of you, the journalists, are interested in, who is elected, who is not elected. We will have a process. We have not yet started the process. We will have, the most important thing really is a body called the Central Committee, consisting of 84 members. Once you are part of that body, then we consider you to be a national leader in the SWAPO party. Out of that, there is a group of 24. They are called members of the political bureau. They first have to be members of the Central Committee before they can be members of the political bureau. The political bureau manages day-to-day things, but the Central Committee has the power to take decisions in between congresses. It's bigger, we're more representative, and can take bigger decisions. Yes. The political bureau can take decisions, but they must be rectified or endorsed by the Central Committee. Out of that, there is a group of people who are directly elected by the Congress, by name.
Yes, yes.
The president has to be elected, endorsed by acclamation or whatever. The vice president has to be elected. The secretary general has to be elected. The deputy secretary general has to be elected. We have a rule that says for every position you can have 3 members, no more than that. Okay. If we have more than 3 members at one position, we have internal election before we go to the Congress. Okay. So the tradition has been the president of the party, if we are going to the elections of the country, yes, the president of the party lead the party into the elections. And he is, once we are elected, he will be the president of the republic.
So you're definitely facing quite a challenge with all these shifts in elections this year. Is there any final word for our voters out there from you?
You see, this is not a question of the voters, yes. You the voters out there. We too vote, eh?
Yes, yes.
The question is not the vote. This year is a process for SWAPO members. It's an internal process for SWAPO members. First, starting from the regions and from the wings. The wings, the Women Council, the Elders Council, the Youth League, they have to have their own congresses and elected. The women have done. They have their own secretary and deputy secretary, and they have their own central committee. Yes. The elders will be the next one. The youth will be the last before the congress or the party. The regions are doing the same. The branches are having their own conferences. The districts are having their own conferences. They are going to elect their regional coordinators, the party's strongest people in the regions, and we will incorporate them, send them to the Congress, and the decision will be taken. So this is actually the gewone, the ordinary voter. Yes. Should be comfortable this year. There is no elections.
They must just watch what's happening.
They must just do their work, repair their houses, build the roads, harvest their mahangu or maize, take care of their cattle. The elections will be in 2019.
Honorable Mbumba, thank you very, very much.
Most welcome.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is all from us this evening. You can watch this on our social media pages, and we will also be repeating this episode next week. That's all from us. Good night.